test that a little more. So I guess I'll let you guys know when I get more info on that. I actually haven't gotten very much info on the buildable structures quite yet.
So here's something I can tell. There's some leak information I do get. They said they just basically split all those things from the field camp. Right now we can build the siege engines in the field camp. We can heal our units in the field camp. We can get our food in the field camp. Right now they simply just split the function into different like buildable structures. That's what I've been heard. So basically, you have to put one thing specifically for heal your units, the other thing specifically for building up the siege engines. Sometimes it's workable because you don't have to wasting 1,000 prestige only for building up the siege before the actual territory war. You just build your siege engine factory. I've been putting that.
Right. So yeah, they're supposed to be for kind of helping with the preparation of sieges. So they have the artillery construction site, which will, allow you to build those giant siege engines that will just, as far as I'm aware, will automatically deploy in battle. And then you have the healing tents, which you said, which will allow you to heal your units on the field. And then I can't remember what else there's. A battle flag, I believe, which allows you to actually occupy it allows you to occupy a player-built fief or a stronghold. But we'll have more information about that tomorrow on the stream. So it will be pretty interesting to see how that all
Yeah, it
comes
sounds
into play.
interesting.
Yeah.
The only real feedback I guess I have from this season's territory war system is I know it's a dynamic we had a bit into last season, but the lack of having to declare to hit a fief is a bit annoying as the season drags on. Because it really does require you to leave a lot of people back, since you can be hit anywhere at any time with no warning. And as the season starts to end, it ends up being boring for members, because you either have to decide if you're going to give up land for free, or you potentially have defenders who did nothing all war. And that's just a bad player experience to sit online doing nothing for an hour.
Especially if cohorts can teleport in as soon as they initiate an attack.
Definitely can second that as well. That having to keep guys back constantly is definitely a bad player experience for newer players, especially.
Yeah, actually,
So,
since somebody already
one of the things that I saw is a lot of our random players that joined Tuatha end up attacking our allies' house and all sorts of stuff like that. And there's no way for a leader to keep their people out of places.
Okay. Good feedback. You guys were talking about the cohorts, which has been something that's been brought up a lot, especially with the inclusion of conqueror cities. So if you guys, I've been trying to kind of wrap my head around what you guys are saying in regards to the cohorts and how they can be exploited. If you guys can just give me a little more information on that, that would be good too.
I think they're talking more about the declare system now in the cohort. Declare is one thing you need to use your own house prestige to actually declare war on a single fief. Then you can attack it, like at least for previous season that is. But right now in this season you can just attack an enemy fief without even declare war on that. Means you don't have to use your prestige to do that such of stuff, which turns out like people can just randomly attack and backup everything freely if you don't put people on defending position.
Going on to the
I think
cohort question. Go ahead, Hawkeye.
Oh, I was going to say, I think I can speak on having been on both sides of the cohort's anger this season. I think the concern with cohorts that most lieges had throughout the season is their ability to fight outside of their own regions and not just fight on what the AI declares on, that where they get the bonus for attacking certain fiefs, but the ability to hit anything. It's led to the cohorts, at least as they organize themselves, which I understand they're becoming better players. They want to work together more. I think it's great. But when all 4 cohorts have the ability to teleport all over the map and work together in one fief, so you can have a house like Radiance at the beginning of the season, we annoyed the cohorts and all of a sudden in the Southwest, we have players from all 4 regions showing up, 60, 100, 120 cohort players. On top of the people we're fighting regularly, it could make it pretty tough because they have the ability to just teleport straight into fights. So the ability for all 4 cohorts to concentrate and literally just leave a region alone. Let's bring all the Maoyang guys down to the Southwest. It kind of defeats the purpose of them being a balance for each region. And they're essentially just a house that the game helps recruit for and doesn't really have a leader in control of.
And a lot of it hasn't really affected me personally, but I've heard a lot of other legions complain about that basically the cohorts are being used by certain houses as force multipliers, kind of going along with what Hawkeye was saying.
Well, they're new players, and a lot of them are looking for some structure, which I think the cohorts are great for. But the issue becomes if you can spare the people, if you can drop like 5 of your own players into the cohorts, and they're higher level players, they're respected by these guys, they're teaching them how to play. But then you can also have those guys go, oh, by the way, screw this house, we should attack them. And it's almost become a little bit of a let's all try to sneak some good players into the cohorts or make friends with higher level cohorts, because they're not attacking what the game tells them to attack. They're strategically attacking houses they don't like, just like another house would. But as the season went on and the cohorts got better and in bigger numbers, there was value in planting some of your own players in there to have them tell cohort players, by the way, Buck's a douchebag and you should all go attack Defiance, and definitely not Yellow Turbans, which I definitely wasn't a part of, like, kind of thing.
Another
And just to further the point that Hawkeye is trying to emphasize here is that same sort of mentality kind of went into the Conqueror City situation as well, right? And based on what Hawkeye was saying, if those principles are adhered to and these new cohort players are actually taking what some of these planted players are saying verbatim, it's not a coincidence, I don't think, that certain gates are defended and certain gates are not defended based on the relationships of people with those cohort plants, right? And that creates a very unfortunate situation for a variety of different people when actually trying to contest certain situations in the Conqueror City contest.
Sure. But how, so in your guys' opinion, how would that be better regulated for Conqueror City?
I think the easiest way to do it is just cohorts have to fight in their region. The Conqueror City is going to be tough because I agree they should be able to defend it. But if cohorts are relegated to, Liangyun cohort fights in Liangyun, each one fights in its own region, it's really unlikely they're going to have a large central authority that's made a decision to help and hinder certain houses at the Conqueror City, because they won't have been working together as a collective whole all season. They can be talking to each other, but effectively as a fighting force, you have 4 cohorts instead of 1. And I like the cohort guys. Like I said, they fought with us constantly at the start of the war, and then I got to talking to them, and they fought other people finally about halfway through the season. But it's tough when they're operating under the word of 2 or 3 people as a force. Those 2 or 3 people's opinions, because they have access to the ability to teleport and the ability to defend neutral fiefs, it really can, when you're making Conqueror City the one, be all end all. They don't even have to win the fight; they just have to slow somebody down.
Going along kind of with that, I'd like to see definitely the cohorts stay to their regions. I don't think that they should be able to attack Borderlands. I mean, it doesn't really affect me, but I don't think it really goes with the theme. I have no problem with them being able to defend each gate. Maybe each one controls a gate. Liang Yun has the one that's I'm not looking at the map, but which one's closest to it? And then all of them can defend Conqueror City. The other thing I'd like to see is, in other words, I'd like to see them be able to lose if you just joined the cohorts. I'd like you to be able to not have that 7-day jail. I think that's something that was brought up last meeting. If you join it twice, then yes, have a 7-day jail. But you're first joining, because there's really no way you can abuse it. I mean, even if you do, it's a one-time thing, and the occurrence would be very small. So just because I don't know how many players. Because granted, the cohorts, like they were saying, they are getting a little bit better at organizing and training people, but it's still no comparison to any of the houses that are trying to actually train new players.
Well, just to echo what some other people are saying, like I don't think anybody's saying that cohorts don't deserve the right to defend Conquer City or defend the gates, but there definitely needs to be some type of a mechanic in place to ensure that abuses don't take place, where they can be manipulated to screw any one particular group or any one particular person out of their opportunity. Right, and whether that be regionally locking them to a specific gate based on where the cohort is located, or whether that be they have to be in the cohort for X period of time in order to qualify, or something along those lines, something that's not as manipulatable as like the influence factor, might be the best way to go.
Another thing I
So-
like.
What if you
Sorry, go ahead.
guys? What if you guys made it so that they had to have a certain amount of prestige to be able to fight in the Borderlands
How do they get
on the
prestige?
cohort side?
Yeah, cohorts don't have prestige.
Well, they gain the reputation by fighting in things. I have a cohort character, and
What?
he
That's,
climbs up the ladder.
Then let them defend at the because they can only defend AI towns is what I'd like to see. And at the border, when the Borderlands first opened, they're all AI, so they can literally defend everything.
Just for me wrapping my head around this, aren't cohorts like, in order for them to participate in like an attack on Conqueror City, for example, don't they need to have a particular rank in cohorts, and don't they need to be in the cohort for a certain amount of time before they can have that rank?
The rank, yes, but they don't need to. It's not required to do anything.
Okay. My understanding.
Just
like-
saying. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Okay, just right now they do have a system called ranking, but that rank is requirements for me is pretty low. It's just being in the cohort and do some of the quests. They've been sent by the system just 2 or 3 weeks. You can reach up the certain rank. You can actually defending on the CC, which is the top goal for the cohort. Right, the top goal for the cohort is protect the farm and keep it away from our free houses. And speaking of which, every warlord here are representing a free house. Like nobody's actually speaking for the cohort. Like I don't know how their system works, but seems like they have the passions to actually participating into the territory war. I have no one just speaking for the cohort. Like maybe next time we invited some of the highest rank in the cohort that is not previously from one of our free houses. That's probably useful because he's one like really speaking for those cohort players. The second thing is I pretty like Buck's idea, just lock down each region to a gate. That makes the system more fair. At this, I know this isn't why we're having the kingdoms attacking 2 gates that's undefended. Makes it looks like we are manipulating them to only defending those gates we are not attacking. But the fact is, all among those 2 gates, there's not only in Heaven Kingdom, there are Euriturbans, there are Defiance people also sitting outside the gate and trying to attack it. Like, we are declared on 4 gates, right? So how come the cohort knows, okay, those 2 gates is gonna taken by Heavenly Kingdom even before the war starts? And also, there's a top war, and we have like you in the Conquer City, but also the topic always in here. Of course, as a liege of the free house, I would like to eliminate the nobility of the cohort for sure. But without anything speaking for the cohort, we can say whatever we want to them, right? But I like the idea just locking down to the regions they belongs to, and for the gates topic, we can just lock down each gate to a specific region. And for the Conquer City, of course, but only the highest rank can join. And there's absolutely need some of the ruling office, because when you see the login screen for the Conquer City, it's become 15 of them. They have the authorized to kick others. That means nobody can be kicked. So
And
there's
if I
a.
can, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I will share the screenshot for how that gonna work. I know it's gonna be a chaos because you cannot just kick those AFKs, even though you're at the highest rank in the cohort. I know that's gonna be frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, definitely there's some cohort quality of life things they need on their side. I know they've talked to you guys about it a bit. over things like the ability to clear out players who haven't logged in a week and stuff like that, so they can control their own numbers. But I do think there's always going to be a perception that the cohorts are being manipulated because their system is a little inscrutable. And I don't think there's any way to completely avoid it. But the issue is, I think especially that the current system of cohorts, it isn't scalable. We all hope that Conqueror's Blade grows as much this season as it did last season. We're so many more people than we were at the end of season 2, or I remember last fall how empty it seemed sometimes. But the cohorts with, triple, quadruple the number of total players in the game become a huge problem, because if they're all working cross-regionally and all 4 cohorts are focusing on one target, you could end up with a single alliance finding themselves fighting 200, 300, 400 cohorts. Right now, they probably only have maybe 100 they can coordinate effectively, because not everybody has to listen to them. There's nothing that forces them to. But, if even only half of them all listen to each other, that's one thing when it's half of 200. It's another thing when it's half of 800. We have very hard limits on how many people we can have in free houses. But the cohorts of, potentially it's 700 per region, right?
Imagine if an
100-person
entire
regions.
Strong and Alliance just merged into a cohort at the start of a season when you guys first
I can't
released
say it wasn't tempting.
especially
Yeah.
since we knew about the ability to teleport.
And I was going to go, so a lot of people are suggesting maybe they should be, I'm kind of on the fence about Conqueror City with cohorts. I actually think they shouldn't be able to participate in the Borderlands at all. The system isn't intended, like they've become basically a house, right? And it isn't, I don't think, what was intended, and I don't think they need to go that route. You're really taking away from the house system, right? So why would any of us try to create a house where we have to recruit people, where we could just go take over a cohort, where the system gives us all kinds of people and gives us more than 100?
It's actually a good
Well, you
point. I
can't
hadn't
control
considered.
those people, so there are downsides.
Even limiting their agency won't stop them from focusing people, though. Even if we, like, quote unquote, nerf the cohorts, they're still going to focus down people that they feel like is going to keep people riled up, and fighting under that banner.
Yeah, but if they're locked to their region, at least it's regionally then they just become an AI run regional power, which is less of an issue than right now, where all 4 cohorts can. You were there, Cobra. You saw the beginning of the season, all 4 regions cohorts in the Southwest.
I think they'll still migrate region to region, just joining cohorts wherever they feel like,
I don't think you can swap between cohorts without a 7-day cooldown.
Well, like Fog wrote in the NA chat over here, let's just keep the cohorts to being only able to attack what is randomly declared on by the system. That way, it completely eliminates any type of manipulation by a player. It's controlled by the computer.
And then the god of RNG comes for us all at one point.
They'll manipulate it somehow. The cohorts. They'll either not attack it, or they'll focus on another region where the target's better.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole purpose of the cohorts to begin with was to give the casual player a chance to experience TW in some way and to train them, right? So, I think if you keep them to what they can only attack the things that are randomly assigned to their cohort by the computer, and keep it to the casual gamer that doesn't have to commit to a free house like a lot of these other players do, it makes a lot more sense.
And they can't go cross border if they're doing what their cohort, the group that they're in, it gets random declarations in their area. So like Asteria is only going to get Asteria targets. They can only attack Asteria targets. If they go down south, they can't attack anything because their particular cohort hasn't declared on anything.
That would be the best scenario for cohort. I'm pretty anti-cohort, but for hearing that, definitely sounds like the best course of action. If they're locked to their region, can only attack the things that are decked on by automatically for them. That would definitely help out with having them coordinate specific people or coordinating specific targets or linking them all up in one specific region. That would definitely be the best.
And I don't think they should be able to defend Conqueror City. Like, going for Conqueror City is a lot of work. It's a lot of tasks. It takes getting the alliance filled with 3 houses that can do it. It's a lot of work on us. And all they have to do is blip in and defend it and be like South America and win it.
Well, and even if they don't maliciously decide to screw with one alliance, the fact of the matter is, because there's no control over the cohorts, there's no telling, which group of friends is going to be a better set of 5 or 10 players in the cohorts. And then it's almost like Russian roulette for who gets boned on their gate, because the guys who get a half decent stack of the cohorts, where even just 7 of them are decent players,
Well,
you
how
can
about
beat them, but they'll slow you down. And the person whose gate had no cohorts, or people who are less experienced or have never worked together before, are going to, in a straight honor race, that it becomes a liability. And it almost happened to us last season. YT ended up with 14 cohorts in our Conqueror City line versus 2 in the other line. We'd still barely eked out a win, but I mean, it wouldn't have even been close if there hadn't been 13 in our line and none in the other.
what about if in order to defend Conqueror City, they have to have a gate? That's kind of a happy medium.
You're saying the cohort has to defend a gate and the AI has to own one?
Yes. Otherwise, they can't get into Conqueror City. It's the same as us.
Yeah, but it's still the same. I mean, at the same time, I think what the allegations here are that the cohorts were used to prevent some houses from having equal access to Conqueror City because the cohorts were defending some gates and weren't defending others. So I think that's the issue here, and I don't know how that would solve that issue. I think we spent enough time talking about the cohorts,
is almost impossible to prove, though. Like, I don't think in my situation where I ended up with a bunch of them fighting me and no one fighting the other line last season, I don't legitimately think that was malicious. I think I picked line 1 and so did a lot of them.
What if
you were also the first one to load in that situation too, so it makes sense that a lot of them would load into the first one that was hit.
Right.
What if we divided up the Borderlands into 4 regions, and each of those 4 gates could be controlled by one of those cohort factions, and that cohort faction would get like 1 or 2 targets randomly chosen in the Borderlands that they could fight each week from each of those regions. So like Asterio would get 2 points up in the north, and they'd have the northwest gate. The Ungavarian would have the southwest gate, and those southwest fiefs would randomly pop up in their rotation.
I disagree. If you're going to be in a cohort, your point should be to defend or expand your land that you own. For example, if you're in Maoyang, the land that you own is around Anliang, and you should push out from there.
Well, I think I've got a lot of notes for cohorts. I appreciate you guys bringing that all up with me. But just in an effort, I think we'll move on from cohorts now. If you guys want to bring up any other concerns in regards to territory wars, or even with the seasonal system, or actually, I also would really like your feedback in regards to the rewards for Conqueror City. That's kind of important one that we have right now.
The 2 things I guess I've got. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Buck.
I was about to chime in. I read the awards today, and having been on the receiving end of very similar rewards season 1, we're not even holding Conqueror City right now, and I can tell you that if I was in their position holding that city, I would not be thrilled.
I don't think it should be game changing. I think a title is huge that says we own Conqueror City for whatever season.
Title or cosmetics. No, I mean, you don't have to give power, give cool kid points, but at least something. Because I mean, my guys saw that. My guys saw the rewards, and we don't have a gate, and we could potentially rush one to get the second fight, and they're like, "Yeah, screw it. That's not even worth it."
Cosmetics is a good idea too.
Yeah, so they have the crowns, and the different crowns are actually you can get them for your house. You don't need to have Conqueror City, but Conqueror City has a different crown specifically.
That's nice.
For owning it. But the thing is, I don't know if the crowns are permanent. So
it said they go till the next Conqueror City opens. That's what it said in the release.
So it's cool, but would that be cool enough?
I mean, it lasting for the season for a visual cosmetic is probably fine. It'd be nice if there was a permanent title. It wouldn't even have to be fancy. I know in WoW, getting a title or an achievement for world firsting something, it's not like they made up something. The achievement is literally world firsted or server firsted this thing. But people brag. I mean, there's people who brag about their Burning Crusade achievement list. That's 12 years ago now. Just having an achievement or a a title that's season 3 victor. That's kind of cool. It's not like it's you can put it on and brag in queued battles, but it doesn't hurt the rest of our ability to play the game.
I like the title idea, especially if it stays unique to each season. Because part of the going into what he said about WoW is that it can't be got. You can't get it anymore. It's a one-time thing, and you earned it. You did all the hard work. Good job.
Well, my understanding is that you will receive a title if you got Conqueror City.
Right. Doesn't it only last for the next season, though?
No, the title is actually permanent.
Oh, that's nice.
So Alliance members will receive a permanent title. I'm not sure what that title is right now. I know that the leader, House Leader or Alliance leaders will receive the Hegemon title. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah. The title for the Alliance members, I don't know what it is yet. It's there.
I think I'd be okay if there was maybe some kind of premium reward. Everybody in the Alliance gets 7 days premium, something like that, whatever.
Okay.
But nothing in game. I mean, Siege gets used up. I don't have a problem with that.
Buck, stop being salty about your Conqueror's Concubine title.
I couldn't help it. I'm sorry.
What was your title?
Conqueror's Companion?
Yeah, Conqueror's Companion.
Like we held 2 lions and a gate and we're just the companions. It's fun.
Not exactly that exciting.
It's not endearing by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
Yes.
Probably.
So
there's a reason you don't see anybody with
Was
it
it
on
worth
running
all
around.
that legendary artillery used?
I didn't think Companion was PC anymore. It should be Conqueror's Escort.
Hey, so we've talked a lot about rewards and the cohorts and stuff like that. I think the single biggest improvement
Who do the cohorts love the most?
that you all can make to this game to make it better and attract a whole new player base is by improving the servers so that we don't experience game-breaking lag. It's going to be the biggest improvement that this game can make to quality of life across the board.
Hell yeah.
Who supports that?
I think everybody can probably point to one war this season where they had a fight that lag was a pretty significant factor in, whether it was something with a bunch of people around like a gate, or for us it was even just a super early war fight on Vashegi fort over in the southwest where we just couldn't get people in, and the people who were in units were floating up off the map, and we ended up just getting run over by. I think almost everyone in here has probably got at least one story.
Yeah, we took Fallenberg. We got hit on Fallenberg, and we wiped everybody out. Like there was nobody left on the map. We were riding to the middle point to capture it, and then it says defeated. Like there's no enemies on the map at all. We're like, what the hell?
Okay. Yeah, I definitely know that's a big one for the game overall. It's something we report on every week. The question is just what other options do we have?
A small quality of life thing that I think would be easier to do than I know getting the money for additional server infrastructure. That's probably not your decision. Is something I noticed, and something that I think is really interesting, is if we could get Conqueror City and the gate maps in the siege rotation for a couple of weeks before Conqueror City. The reason being, seasonal units change how those maps play a lot. We didn't get to hit a gate the first time because we didn't really have a deck. But when we went to hit it, we realized once we got into the gate map how the addition of the seasonal units completely changed the strategy you need to take that map.
Not to mention those who've never seen it.
Right. I mean, some people had never seen the gates, but even the guys who fought on it, and we took a gate from somebody last season.
I've only fought in the Conqueror City map twice, and that was during siege rotation when they released it briefly.
Right, and the gate's never been in the siege rotation, and those seasonal units change how we play the game so much. It'd be nice to be able to get a little experience to understand a little bit about how, the addition of weaker cav and better pikes and a really, really good crossbow unit, how those change the dynamic of the map. Both on our side and also hopefully on the developer's side. If you can look at siege queues and go, oh, on gate fights 96% of the time the defenders win, that could be a problem. Or attackers are winning Conqueror City almost every time. It'd be really interesting just to have a bit more of a shot. The Conqueror City wasn't too bad because most of my guys had seen it at least once in a queue. But, I mean, anybody who was new this season was going into a gate completely blind other than what we could tell them.
Right. Okay. So definitely players need to be able to prepare for attacking Conqueror City and the gates with these new seasonal units.
Yeah, because it's great that the game and the meta shifts. It's one of the things that keeps this game entertaining. But it
Perhaps
does
when
mean
they
on a
release-
very important specific fight like that, it'll play very differently from season to season.
Just
Perhaps when
speaking
they
of
release the
the
Great Wall, that's when that should enter the siege rotation.
yes, exactly. That's my point as well. So speaking of the balance, I don't think gate map and the Conquer City map is a good balanced map. I think it's pretty preferred the defenders for
And then
sure.
it
So
stays until the Conqueror City is over.
yeah, I think that's why it doesn't being used as a rotation of the siege maps as usual. But at least we can make it to a PvE map, just like the Great War. And like everybody had the chance to see actually how the map goes, and do some PvE stuff, and like without unit loss. So everybody gonna go and see it. It's a weird designed map, like and it's a beautiful map. So I think like everybody deserve a chance to at least like enjoy it. So
Sure.
by putting there only for a few people can participate in is such a waste.
Well,
For
and
the
I
developer
legitimately
and
think
the
the
player.
gate map isn't horribly balanced, but the big change is traditionally, and I can say this both as someone who lost and took a map when Ming beat us and we dropped our gate, and then when we beat them and took it back both times, the way you won that was breaking through the front gate with Cav and then being able to run down the final point faster than they could reinforce it, which was great. It was a legitimate strategy, but then in this season, throw in Pavice and Fortebracios and weakened Cav, and that's not really a thing you can do anymore. Breaking through the front, it used to be you had to put a pretty big number of people on a gate to secure it against a cav charge. Now it's 2 units of Fortebracios, and odds are nothing's coming through it. So that changes that dynamic a ton, and the strategy that would have allowed people to capture it is just completely non-viable this season, which we couldn't really figure out until we were already in there with only 4 wars to come up with a strategy.
Sure. Okay. That's good feedback. Thank you, guys.
And what Fog just posted in the NA chat, all of that, yes.
And you only get one try.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good call. I hate the season rank on the house roster.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all everything that Fog posted. They're all actually really good quality of life changes that I know as a lead is a daily pain in my ass when you have to expunge members that have been kind of lingering for a little bit too long, and you really don't have any indication as to how long they've actually been off playing. But even being able to sort, right, like sorting effectively to distribute titles and that sort of stuff, it would all just it would make life so much easier.
Sure. I think
A
that,
last online feature.
right. I do believe, I don't know if I can really tell you guys a lot yet, but there are quite a few quality of life changes that are going to be introduced, especially around house management. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure, what was it? Like, house banks is something that's been a very common request. And I'm fairly certain that's something that they are strongly considering. So I can't really give you guys a lot of details, but definitely know that like the feedback you guys are giving are being listened to, and they are planning to make some quality of life changes for these upcoming seasons.
Hey, Fog just posted more house emblems. Is there any possibility of another like founders pack for houses that weren't able to get in on the original house packs to get the, now they're purple houses, but the more just the custom
blue.
logo? Yeah, something else,
Or-
custom logo.
So yes, that has been discussed. Some form of updated founders pack. They are like they'll need to adjust it, obviously, but and I don't know when they'll implement it, but I'm fairly certain that they're going to be bringing in a new founders pack.
Very cool.
for the purple, purple titles and things like that. So yeah, if I get more information on that, I will be sure to let you guys know.
When do we get our war elephants?
Oh, come
Ooh.
on.
Uh,
I almost made it.
Most commonly requested thing.
Hmm.
When they're done.
I can say soon with the belief that you will be getting it soon because
So around season 8.
I let him
I'm
finish.
okay
Let him
if they
finish.
never come
Let him
out
finish.
because I troll the guys in my house that bought them all the time with it. Oh yeah, man, they're coming this season.
What can I say? I'm hoping season 5 will introduce them. Obviously, that's subject to change because they were supposed to come earlier, and then they didn't, and then they were supposed to come again, and then they didn't.
How much money did people pay for those?
Like $25.
There was other stuff in the pack though.
Yeah, it was part of the $100 pack.
And it was in the streamer pack that you could, the Beast Master pack or whatever that streamers could sell.
Yeah, that was the.
They do exist. I've seen them. I think the
problem is once you put them in the game, you can't take them out of the game.
Yeah,
and they're going to
exactly.
be OP.
Exactly. So it's been like a very delicate situation.
They could add new mounts, and when they do that, they could add new elephants. Make it to where we can outrun them.
Now,
Right.
Just make it a horse skin.
About that being a skin. Yeah. So is that an actual skin, or is it like a big fat Mumakil you roll around with?
No, it is not a skin. It is its own mount.
Oh.
So it's it. I bet it can run over walls.
Well, so some of the things
No, I'm kidding.
that it's being discussed, like how is it going to work? Like, should it be limited to certain maps? Should it have like a requirement for it to be used at all? There's just a lot of things at play that are preventing the devs from implementing it. But
started off small. You can't dismount, so that only a few classes or weapons will use it. And then once it's dead, you can't respawn it. And then once you see the power creep on it, then you can adjust it.
Well, you mean like no power dismount to knock people off?
Correct.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that makes sense.
Nah, real thing is you can ride the elephant, but it's 700 leadership.
maybe that's an option for it to have leadership requirements. I don't know.
You gotta pick one unit to ride on the elephant. How about that? That's it.
Yeah, you can have a ranged unit.
I didn't think it was an Oliphant from Lord of the Rings.
It exists. It exists. I don't think it's as big as you guys might be thinking it is, but it is fairly large. So I'm hoping, don't quote me on this because they change it all the time, but I'm hoping season 5 will introduce the elephants, and then we can finally put it all behind us.
Are you able to give us any info on the timeline, like what the kind of between season / preseason timeline looks like? Like, I know Conqueror City ends a week from, well, I guess it ends this coming Tuesday. Do you know what the transition timeline looks like? Like, is there dead time like there was last season? Is there preseason drill wars? Do we know kind of what that looks like yet?
So what I can tell you is, we will be announcing the release date for season 4 tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
So, assuming that they stay, on schedule, the plan is to put out an announcement about it tomorrow. That's all I can really tell you guys right now on that. And looks like we have 5 more minutes left before I have to, hop off here. But if you guys have any other questions, feel free to ask them within the next 5 minutes.
Can we ask about samurai troops?
Oh.
Nope.
No, I can't.
All right, that's all.
I want to give you guys something. They're in the game, so it's only a matter of time. I'm sure, but no, I can't really give you information on the samurai.
Oh, good.
Can we say this? So we've had quite a few seasons of Eastern stuff, come out.
Mm-hmm.
Will we be seeing more Western season after this next one? Are you guys planning that far ahead, or
Yes.
okay?
I personally, what I know up to season 6 right now. I think you guys are going to be very happy with season 5 and season 6 because they are things that have been requested quite often. I can't tell you what, obviously.
Yes. Are they not Eastern?
Yeah, I'm just gonna pass. I'm just gonna pass on that because, like, I get really excited.
You all heard what he almost said, so.
Yep.
Yeah. I get really excited and I do want to tell you guys things, but then I'm like, no, I can't.
That's okay. You said enough. You almost said the word.
Right. Well, there will be Western, obviously. You know, they want to do all sorts of stuff. So, of course, there will be Western seasons in the future.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
When am I going to get my items back?
Where are your items? What happened to them?
They glitched and disappeared a couple months ago.
Oh, right. I remember the whole thing with the invisible inventory and stuff.
Yep.
Still, honestly, I'm so sorry. I still do not have any updates on that.
I'm never getting them back.
I really don't want to say that because
You should have thought that before you owned stuff.
Yeah. Who do you think you are having?
I was trying to sell them.
Atlas brought up. So a lot of us have noticed that there's very detailed systems of roads and named regions around the current borders. Atlas is asking if you're planning to open up more regions.
Eventually. There are, like, I don't have any information in regards to when that would come or, you know, what that will entail, but new regions will be added into the game eventually.
I think you just made everybody pretty excited if that's the first time we've all heard that.
Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it then.
Well, yeah, but he also does know the plans through season 6, so we know regions won't be opened up until at least season 7 at the earliest.
Well, I only know so much about the seasons. Seasons
and
5
can't
through
tell
6,
us so much.
Like, yeah, I can't tell you a lot, but I also don't know a lot. Like, I know what they are planned.
He's the new guy.
Yeah, I know what they're planned to be, but I don't know what they're going to entail. I have no idea. So until they get closer, that's just information I don't have. But I mean, you know, they're gonna add new units. Some point down the line in the game, there's gonna be additional classes. There's gonna be additional regions. It's all things that are being considered. I just have no idea what the timeline would be for that so far in the future. Years and years from now. Just kidding.
No, I kind of believe that.
I feel like they've been pretty fast. I feel like they've done a good job at kind of pushing the new content out.
Yeah, they didn't die from the coronavirus, so that was good.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the understandable delay for COVID, seasons have been pretty on schedule.
Yeah, honestly, it doesn't seem like things internally have been affected all that much with COVID, which is nice. But, you know, the ability to work from home for most employees is very convenient. I mean, I work from home anyway, so, like, it hasn't affected me much. Anyways, any other questions, guys?
When's the stream tomorrow?
It will be at, well, it's 11 PDT. So, okay, you guys are North America, so why am I even trying to think of the time zones? So, yeah, it will be 11 Pacific time.
Okay. The
Awesome.
one quick comment.
Yeah.
That I wanted to bring up is that, hang on, my baby's crying. I gotta go. Sorry.
Oh, bye. Okay, sorry.
All right. So this is the dev stream, right?
Say that again?
We're talking about a dev stream revealing some stuff. Is that what you
We
mentioned?
CMs will be doing a stream tomorrow,
Sweet.
and we will just show a little more content from season 4. And then we also plan to give the release date of season 4 tomorrow.
Okay. Like the previous season, are we going to have some of the boys out there with you like last time, or is it just you guys?
Some of the boys. What do you mean?
Excuse me. So I mean
creators.
Some of the content creators that have been doing it.
We don't have anyone planned for tomorrow's stream.
Okay. Well, I was asking, like, is there one of those that's going to happen, or are we giving like a little taste? Or are you showing the whole thing
Of
the new content, basically?
No, we're not showing everything. We're showing,
okay,
just kind of a taste. We're gonna show, some more information on the new units. There's an additional map, and then you guys already know about the buildable structures, so we're going to talk a little bit about those. And then, of course, the release date is planned for tomorrow.
Awesome.
Sorry about that. My wife has the baby now. So what I wanted to say is that one of the things that was best about this season is the 50% offer that really helped bridge the gap between brand new players and those of us who have been playing before there were seasons. Is that because the Condottieri performed so well, and the same with the Fortebraccio, and all the other units performed well, and they're half price, that really helped the players that are under level 200 jump up and be able to hold their own. So I hope going forward that's something that continues.
Yeah, I think, they are putting a lot of emphasis on how we can improve the game for new players. So things like that, yeah, definitely, I'm sure they'll continue to implement. I also, I know there's a concern that there needs to be more content being available for veteran players to maintain interest. So that's something we're discussing, something that has been talked about a lot. I know, for example, the technology tree, there's a part of it that's still locked off. So we're trying to get more information about that. Just things that veterans can look forward to and work towards. So if you guys have thoughts on that, feel free, maybe not in this meeting, but within the Warlord chat. I'm happy to take any feedback there. But it looks like we are out of time for the day. So I guess I will call it here, guys. Anyways, yeah, I really appreciate you guys all being here. And I'm sorry it was so short notice, but I'm happy we were able to do this. Let's plan. I'll make sure that when we do the next one, we'll have a longer, we'll have more time to prepare for it. When we go into season 4, I want to, and we all have time to kind of settle into season 4. I'd like to do another one where we can kind of talk about some of the new stuff that's been implemented.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, thanks for chatting with us.
so much. Of course. Yeah, I really appreciate it, guys.